Hello? It's in Canada already? Nah, I'm not busy. Where is it? Okay, this is the research ride for the ZX-4RR. Don't think I've ever been looking forward to one more. Syncing audio. And all cameras are rolling. Test conditions, we have color display, beautiful. It's actually nicer than what the 636 gets. Map is my custom one from pre-testing. The quick shifter up and down is enabled. It's also nicer than the ZX-6R. I set the tachometer to flash at 12K because it was spazzing at 4 from the factory, and it's like barely off idle. This thing revs to 16,000, which is the point of the bike. Rear suspension set to my ZX-10R settings. This is the same shock. And preload I maxed. It still feels a bit soft, but then again, in Asian markets, I am a bit fat. Overall, Kawasaki is making a statement here. Why not put flagship features on a small bike? Are luxuries not enjoyable at less speed? Do small bike enthusiasts not occasionally have the money to pay for them? Questions for the final review. Obviously, a bit redundant. Okay, camera looks solid. And here we go. Ergonomically, this is surprisingly uncramped. Feels more relaxed than a ZX6 or a ZX10. It's somehow roomier than a Yamaha R7. What this reminds me of, and I'd put it on par with, is the Aprilia RS660. It's kind of sport casual. I'm staring at a lap timer on the switchgear, but you know, this feels more streetable to me. Engine comfort, that is unparalleled. That's actually a good witticism for the final script, unparalleled. Because none of the parallel twins in the class are going to be able to touch an inline 4 for smoothness. The sound. Oh, woo, that sounds exactly like a Smallbore 4 at 16,000 RPM. And if that's not worth 10 grand to you, then you are not one of the enthusiasts who will buy a Smallbore 4. You know, I can hear that ram air intake whistling as well. The wind section to my Symphony. Edwin, see if you can find a picture of the old 250 from the 90s. Kawasaki's got a bit of a history of conspicuous ram air systems. That actually, I think, was a good spot to do the main test. So I think I'm gonna base this review around top speed. You know, everyone always cliches, oh, it's more fun to ride a small bike fast, but small bikes are still mostly uselessly fast for public roads, so let's see about this one. Top of 1, 73, top of 2, looked like about 100. Top of 3, 130. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Oh, we got an angle here, boys! That feels way slower than it should. That feels like, yeah, maybe 50 horsepower to me. All right, I'm gonna stop the cameras here. Okay, this is Chalkboard Notes Prep. So, for the last decade, every manufacturer has been replacing their inline 4s with inline twins. And the reason being, these do like 10,000 RPM, and we only have 2 combustions per 2 revolutions, so 10,000 combustions every minute. That's easily within regulations. But to do an inline 4 at 16,000 RPM, then we're talking about 32,000 combustions every minute. That's way louder and way hotter. Above 84 decibels, you start to fail the EPA noise regulations, and above 1300 degrees Celsius, 1300 degrees Celsius, you start to combust the atmospheric nitrogen. You're making a motorcycle that actually eats the air, converting nitrous oxides, which is the fastest and easiest way to fail Euro 5. So, okay, if we want a 16,000 RPM screamer on today's green earth, then Kawasaki is going to have to intentionally diminish their 32,000 combustions. I think we can prove that. Brake mean effective pressure. We should have covered this a long time ago because it's an objectively better way to describe power. It's irrespective of the engine size. It's the average combustion pressure across one stroke. There's a formula for this. It's torque times a constant, 1235.6 times the number of revolutions per power pulse, and then divided by your cubic centimeters. We'll run the numbers for the fast Kawasaki's from the last several decades, Z1, GPC 900R, ZX-9R, ZX-10R. We should see this steady increase in BMEP. But the 2023 ZX-4RR, it's like 164 PSI. It's several decades out of date. And Kawasaki is clearly neutering the throttle body to shed brake mean effective pressure and pass these regulations. So, okay, we have a review angle there. Ditch the 3 catalytic converters, flash the ECU, get a very modern 200 PSI into here, which would be 32 torques, 92 horsepower. That is what the engine is really capable of. It's a solid review angle, and I desperately don't want it.
See, the ZX-4RR is better slower. The whole point is hilarious revs on public streets, and it must be slow enough to be geared low enough to hit them. I have nothing to review here. It's perfect as is, unedited. Just take the first cut.
Thank you very much for watching, and thanks to Insta360 for making our first cut possible. See, their mounting clamps are universal and rubberized, and they don't damage press bikes. This is how I'm able to take 360 degrees from various angles all at once, which is how we managed to film an entire bike review in one take. If you want to film the entirety of your rides at once, click the link below.